Alright, hey guys, here we are today. I've got a moose antler, Shiras moose, that my dad and I found back, I don't know, 3 days ago. And as you can see, it has been out for at least a couple of years. I'm guessing 3. And it's got a few chew marks on it right in here, and it started to go chalky throughout the palm. The back side's still pretty solid. A little bit of color right here. But I'm going to try to restore it back to its natural color of brown. I've got a couple other moose antlers that we found to show you an example of what I want it to look like. This one, he's a little bit lighter in the palm, and more of a walnut color on the back side of his antler. And then this one, he's got a darker palm, as you can see, and I kind of like the darker palms, just personally. But his back side, he's more of a almost mahogany color. So I think I'm going to try to shoot for a darker palm and about this color on the back side when we're done. So those are examples of what I'm shooting for. First thing I did was I started sanding down the palm. I spent about, I don't know, 45 minutes, and I just straight sandpaper, got about a medium grade, and I just sat for about 45 minutes sanding it down. I was just trying to get rid of any of the chalky feeling to it, get it back to that smooth, hard texture and feel. I really tried to get into any of the little grooves where there were veins or any of that, and then made sure I got over wherever there were chew marks to try to sand that down to get it back to its to a hardness in between the points. Make sure that was smooth, and then I didn't have to do too much on the back side, but I just ran that over a little bit, and then got this wire brush, and from there I was able to get down in the cracks really well, and now it's pretty firm, solid, smooth. So now what I'm going to do is, I've made sure all the cracks are cleaned out. Now I'm going to apply my wood filler to all these cracks, which this one has a lot in the palm, and once I get that in there, then I'm going to let it dry, sand it off, and I'll probably repeat the process probably 2 times, but we'll just have to see. Alright, so here we go. Applying the wood filler. Again, I chose a stainable light tan. This will get a little bit more messy, but I think it's going to work. So I'm just going to rub that in wherever I see cracks or holes, which is the majority of the antler on this side. So I'm hoping that it's going to work out. I'll try to give you a better view here of what it's looking like. So there's these cracks like this in here, and so I'm just basically getting a finger dab of it and then working it into those cracks best I can. It should, anything that doesn't get in the cracks and it gets on the antler itself, it should come off with when I sand it. So I'm not too worried about it, but there's always that question. in your head. It turned out nicely when I did it on the other antlers, the deer antlers, so not too worried yet. I think the back side's going to turn out perfect because of it wasn't as chalky, so I'm not too worried about that side. This side is the side I have question about. But see, there you can see where I've put the wood filler in. Still have a few. I have to go up through that entire palm, as you can see. Then I do have a few chew marks like that I'll touch on. Alright, so now the antler is done. I filled in most any crack I could see. So that is what it looks like filled in. Now it's time to sand it off. I'll use sandpaper, probably this wire brush as well, and then I'll see what cracks I didn't get and what ones I need to refill. So what I've been doing is coming through with the sandpaper, working back and forth, up and down, and then I'll hit the same area with the wire brush. And that's kind of helping to get rid of that extra wood filler. Alright, so now it is the moment of truth. We are going to stain the antler. So I got a cotton towel, and then I've got my walnut stain. I tried pecan, thinking the inside of the paddle being a little lighter, the pecan would work, but it turned out it looked a little too yellow. So I'm just going to apply a darker coat of the walnut on the back, and then we'll see how that dries, and then we'll come back and then we'll do the palm as needed. Stain gets a little messy, so I'm going to throw on a pair of gloves just for the fun of it, because I got sick of the stain getting on me when I was doing my practice runs. So alright, got the cotton cloth. Make sure you put towels or something down, you don't want to get that on anything. And I am just going to shake up the stain. Once again, I'm using the walnut color, and I'm going to start at the back just with a slight amount of stain, just to see how it initially reacts before I get too crazy. And then from there, if it looks good, then I'll keep going. But right now, that looks pretty good. It's matching up with the color that was on the back. So I'm just going to keep working this base of the antler back here. And so right now, here's the finished product of the back after 1.5 coats. This is the antler here. It is darker than I thought it would be, which I am not complaining about, because I like it, the antlers darker. Alright, here we go on more of the palm. Guess there's nothing left to do but to just go for it. But I mean, really, if you look at moose antlers, really, if you look at moose antlers, the inside of them aren't perfectly one color. I mean, you could see they got whites, light browns, tans, darks, all in them. So really, that's not too bad. Hopefully none of the cracks show, and if I could stay that color, maybe no darker than right there, I think it's going to turn out good. Alright guys, the antler's completed. It definitely looks darker in the phone than it is actually, so don't get alarmed if it looks black. It is definitely a lot darker on the camera than it is in real life. But I am happy with it. It looks pretty dang good. Looks like a moose from Vermont or something. Those ones get real dark and chocolatey on the inside. There wasn't much else I could do with it because it was so chalky that I had to sand it down so much to get it to go hard again and fill in those cracks. That's just kind of the color it took to. But it looks a lot better in person. And then the back side is excellent. Took the color really well. I am happy with it. Moose, the tips are kind of, lighter at the tip. Moose don't really get those ivory tips though, like elk do. They kind of just keep the same color, and then, right in here, along the sides they'll get lighter. But golly, I am happy with that. That's cool. He was ruined before. Now he's good. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully this might help you out if you're looking to restore any antlers this shed season that you find. This was my first legit try at staining an antler, and it was in really bad shape to start with, so I'm happy with it. I would have wanted the Shire Smooths here in Utah, they usually get bleached out a lot more on the palm, but in a lot of other states they stay dark. And I like the dark antlers, so that's pretty cool. I'm happy with it. Thanks for watching.